in watercolor are very difficult for some people, but I'm going to show you an easy way how you can paint trees using a wet and wet technique and also a dry technique. And combining these two together, you will end up with a nice misty morning feel to your painting. So I'm going to start off by wetting the paper. So this is just 140 pound weight, and apply plenty of water to start off, and you bring it right down to about 2/3 of the way down. You don't need to draw pencil lines or anything like that, or horizon lines, because the whole scene is like a forest scene, so you won't require horizon lines. So you have a wet paper 2/3 of the way, like this. Plenty of water. At the beginning, you want to use plenty of water on your paper, so that you get that nice wet into wet technique. So as you see, there's a lot of water on there. So there's no sky, there's no specific background. So what you do have then is just this white area, and then you apply different quantities of paint. So I'm going to start off with ultramarine blue, just a little bit of that. And then I'm going to add alizarin crimson, again a small amount. And by mixing these two together, you'll get various tones of purples. So I take my blue like this. I don't need any more water. All the water I need is on the paper. I don't need any more. So I add in my alizarin, a little bit more, and then just another little bit. You then take your brush, hold it straight up in the air, vertical, and you apply then little brush strokes like this, just straight across there. You can put some beside each other. You can have some at an angle like that. Some thick, some thin. And then once you have that done, then you don't have to have it coming out of the top of the painting. You can just basically have it like that. So I'm now going to apply a little more just underneath it here like this. The same color. And you can leave little spaces like that there, that helps. And then maybe just some there like this. Now, as that starts to dry and settle, we then take more paint and we make it the tone, which is important. The tone, you make that a little bit stronger, which will make these look further away. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to change brush to a detail brush, and I add a little bit more blue. The brushes, by the way, you'll get them on our website. My website, it's relaxwithwatercolor.com, and you'll see the set of brushes. There's 6 brushes in the set, and anything to do with watercolor, these brushes will do. So actually I'm going to add another little tone here. So I'm going to just take a little bit of indigo just to deepen the tone of the blue. So indigo is a great color. So I'm just adding that little bit of indigo into the mix. And then we're going to go over our painting now. Within this area here, we're going to do about 5 or 6 trees, and these are going to be much darker in tone. So we've one there. We'll put another one here, and it doesn't matter if you go over a tree that's there already. Because there's a darker tone, you'll see the 2 trees. So that's 2. Another one here. Just another little angle like that. And maybe I'll put one here. 4, and then one more. Put one here. There we are. So there's 5. Now again, these are distant trees and you don't want too much happening to these here. You could put a little line coming off them like they're almost like it's just a little bit of a shadow. There we are. Now, as this starts to dry, it'll settle in, and I'm just going to add in more trees and more colour. But before I do that, just want to take another little bit of the blue, and I'm going to go below here like that. So I'm just adding that in. I want to get it a bit more bluer looking. There we are. And in here then we will put more trees. So I'm just going to add a little bit more purple tone to this. I'm just going to finish that off there but while we're at it. Doesn't matter if you've got a little bits of red peeping through, that's not important. So the next stage now, I'm going to add more indigo to the blue. Let's see, this may need to be dried a little bit more. Let's just see how it turns out. So I'm going to start off with one here. I'll put that up there. Not quite ready, so I'm just going to add some green. I want to get some foliage in here. So I'm taking a brush, it's a bristle brush, and it's round in shape like that. I'm going to just add a little bit of water onto it so it's damp. These brushes, they don't hold water, but they're very good for doing trees. So I'm just taking some of the green here, and I'm going to apply it across the top. So, and all you do is tap the brush like this. This will give you texture. It'll make the green look like leaves, distant leaves. A little bit more. So again, plenty of colour, and the watercolour purists will all have heart attacks now because this isn't normally something that you would do with watercolour. But as you can see, it works very well. You get some great shapes and textures with it. So again, some more paint. Just fill up that area there. And you're just literally tapping it. You're not doing anything special with it, and you can decide where you want it. So that goes on like that. Now, I'm going to dry that slightly, so we just to speed up this. Now we're going to add in some foreground trees. Taking my ultramarine blue, indigo, mixing the two together. So I'm just going to go back over this tree again. So just go back over that. It will expand outwards a little bit, but it shouldn't be too much. Now I'm going to have another one more or less right beside it here, just a larger tree. I'm going to push that up, get my angles right with it. Let's push that up there. and just bring that right down. Now this paper, the Arches Aquarel, is on a block, and because it's all sealed around the edges, it tends to buckle now and again if you add a lot of water. People will ask you in watercolor, how much water do you add? Well, it's something that you can't really answer that, because it depends on what you're actually painting. Sometimes you need more water, sometimes you need less. So I'm just going to put a branch coming off that. There. And then just bring that through. I'm going to put just a little shadow coming off that, maybe here too. Not too much. Again, as you can see, we have that kind of, it's expanding outwards, but that's okay. You often get trees with ivy, and it kind of gives you that kind of a misty effect as well. So a little bit more color, I think. Some more blue. And indigo. So I'm going to add in more blue, more indigo, add the two together, get our dark tones going. And we get another tree roughly around about here, so I'll put a tree in here. Now, it doesn't really matter about the color of the tree for this exercise. What's important is to get the tonal values right. So you start off with the light tones, and then you work to the darker tones. And that's really what we're trying to achieve here, is tone rather than color. I'm just adding these in. Now you can add a few little branches as well. I'll show you that now. And all trees, they're thicker at the bottom than they are at the top. So we want to make sure that all blends together. So I'm just going to show you using a rigger brush. This is a rigger, and the rigger is a great brush for doing branches. So I'm just going to put a little branch coming off there using the rigger. And the rigger brush is probably one of the few brushes that you have to hold a certain way. So you grab the brush at the top here, and that's where you hold it. You don't hold it down here like a normal brush, you hold it here. And that's so that it allows you, so that you can bend it back like this, and you can walk it out like this. And just by using your hand, you can guide it off, and you get these lovely little twigs like that. So that's our rigger. Again, all these brushes are on the website, relaxwithwatercolor.com, as part of one of the 6 brushes that you will need to finish these paintings. Now I'm going to put another tree here. So I'll just put a tree here now. And the tone is important. That I know I'm emphasizing this, but it's the tone that makes the painting. because you have the different levels, and that pushes it right back all the time. And I'm just going to do another tree here, just show this is my final tree. It doesn't have to go all the way out, just up a little bit, because I'm going to put some foliage up around the top of that. And again, you can add in a little shadow here and there like that. You don't have to do it. You don't have to have the shadow the same size as the tree. It's just a little touch coming off. That's all you need. And then just tidy it up. And try and get a nice crisp edge like that. And here. There we go. So I'll just finish this one here on the beside it. Let's get a little bit more going here. Get the trees thicker at the bottom. A little bit more blue, a little bit more indigo, mix the two together. You can even pull in a bit of red if you want. That kind of gives it a bit more of a purple look. So, I'm going to go back over this one here now. Just a little bit more. Just make it darker. One side is even plenty just to darken it. Just to blend that. Now, I'm going to take my rigger brush again. I'm going to just push off a few little twigs coming off that. You don't want them just keep them high, not at the bottom. This is where you're going to put your foliage, so you need a little twigs coming off like that, so to grab the foliage. Again, it doesn't matter if they go over one another, that's not important. Trees do intertwine in the forest. Now, so I'm taking my round brush again, the bristle brush, and I'm going to start making some foliage with it, and just add a little bit of more yellow. A little bit of water, but as I said, it doesn't hold water, so it's just a little tap of, just to open up the bristles like that. And into the green, it's the sap green from Winsor & Newton. And all you do is you just tap it like that there. Just where you have branches. Again, a little bit more water. And just again where you have the branches also. And we'll just finish off over here. And again, just tap that off. Just cover up where those trunks go out of the painting. Like that. Now you can add a little bit more tone. I'm going to add some indigo into the green. It's a bit too strong though. So a little bit of indigo in there, so you have a darker tone now. And just a little bit up here. And having various tones of green, it gives you great depth into the painting. A little bit here as well. So that's your trees there, and as you can see, you have great depth. You start off with your lighter tones, and they're your distant trees. And as you progress and as it starts to dry, you can see then that you can add darker tones to that, and you get the effect then that these trees are closer. And you have to bear in mind that what we're actually painting on, to capture that depth, is a flat piece of paper. So photographs are fantastic when you look at them, but a painting, to create the depth, you need different tones like this. So as I said, you can look at a photograph and see the depth. With a painting, you create the depth. And the only way you can do that is by the tones of the paint you're using. So the lighter the tones, the further away they look, and the darker the tones, the closer the subject is. So that's your trees. Nice little exercise, nice little project, nice little painting to try yourself. So I hope you enjoyed that. Until next time, goodbye.